Charlie Kirk's death is a dark moment for America, per President Trump. It's also a turning point for you and me, a call to action and a time for choosing. But first, let me tell you about my relationship with Charlie. Charlie was the greatest man I've ever personally known. He was a moral, kind, generous, and irreplaceable man. Charlie was Turning Point USA, the organization he founded. We are sad today because he represented the best of America and what we as men aspire to be. What set him apart was that he was the least hypocritical man I've ever known. He practiced what he preached in his professional and personal life like no other. Now, as for what he built, I would often watch him work and utter to myself, he's a force of nature. He was a modern-day William F. Buckley Jr. meets Rush Limbaugh meets community organizer. And it hurts to see him gone from this earth after all that was seemingly planned for him. Many of us know he would have one day been president. As Kierkegaard once said, the most painful state of being is remembering the future, particularly the one that you'll never have. For those of you who have never met Charlie Kirk, this feels like a death in the family. But for those of us who did know him, and thousands of us were his friends, that says a lot about his character, by the way, we're heartbroken and grieving with a depth we've never before experienced in our lives. Let me tell you about my relationship with Charlie. I first met him in a Chicago diner in 2012 when he was 18 and then I was 27. He was persistent in reaching out to me, looking to obtain a meeting to receive guidance and advice on what he set out to build. He spoke confidently at this diner about his plans to build a mass movement of young people. I remember thinking at the time just how ambitious, grandiose, and seemingly improbable all these plans seemed, even for this precocious kid. But it was a world-changing idea. But there was also thousands of DMs of people sending these things to me with ideas about how they wanted to change the political landscape on a massive scale. Yet, few people actually had the X factor that Charlie Kirk had. That was actually something that one of my previous board members, Jim Young, said. Many people recognized that in him. And sitting across from me was this teenager with a half-eaten sandwich, speaking with the quiet conviction of Martin Luther. Here I stand, I can do no other. I saw him shortly thereafter, living on a couch at Lee Hanley's house on Palm Beach Island. Lee was a donor I was soliciting for money on that day. Charlie was running around the country, sleeping on couches, starting this organization out of his parents' place in Chicago. He was indefatigable, relentless, executing his vision. I vividly recall Rush Limbaugh saying, "Everywhere I go, I run into Charlie Kirk." He said that at the time while at Mar-a-Lago. A decade later, Charlie built his mass movement. But the irony was it was now me, 10 years his senior, now asking him for advice. I had to start all over. I was in the rebuilding phase, and he was on the phone with me, coaching me through my darkest days. I remember pulling over to the side of the road on the highway, pacing through the grass next to the overpass as we had profound conversations about the difference between knowledge and wisdom, as he tried to help me find God in the face of unimaginable evil and betrayal. And I'll never forget the question he asked me on the phone that day. He said, "Do you love yourself, James?" He made me be a better person. Then, shortly after that, in San Diego in September of 2023 at the Turning Point Faith Conference, he summoned me on stage. This was not planned. On stage with Pastor Rob McCoy, and asked the entire convention center of 1,200 pastors to pray for me. Charlie put his hands on my shoulder and said, "I want us to pray for James O'Keefe and show him some encouragement during the difficult time he's going through." But it wasn't just spiritual advice. Charlie prayed as if it depended on God. He acted as if it depended on him. For example, he helped me make payroll one month that year, 2023, when I was rebuilding the company. That was an act that moved even the non-believers on our staff. Many others who knew him have many similar stories like this. I looked up to him and deeply admired him. He was a role model of what a man ought to be, a better man than we, a model of civility and heroism in an age where those things have been under constant attack. When asked by a podcaster about how he wanted to be remembered, Charlie responded, "Courage from my faith." Charlie did not point left or right, but up. And that's where he is now. And as for now, our country, at this pivotal moment in our history, is facing a generational equivalent to the assassination of Martin Luther King or John F. Kennedy. As Pastor Signorelli wrote today, the devil overplayed his hand once again, and this will be the impetus for a mass awakening. Charlie's murder has brought out a premonition that we are headed down a very dark path indeed unless something immediately changes within us. It is not a coincidence that an assassin, a mere 200 yards away, targeted him in the throat to send a message that they're coming to take your voice. Charlie's show, by the way, was distributed through Real America's Voice. Visual images of this horrifying moment of blood spurting out bombarded our social media feeds, and it was a shock against our conscience, our humanity. It was, as another patriot once wrote, a time that tried our souls. This was a symbol that they thought would scare us, and honestly it did. It scared me. But now Charlie has ascended. He has left us with this warning and a call to action. The price for his message was his life. You see, in our country, there is a lack of accountability for those who do evil. People who commit crimes don't fear accountability. Ask anybody at the events Charlie leads, and they will all say the same thing. You might even be saying it to yourself. Those who do wrong face no consequences. Evil goes unpunished in our government. Nothing ever happens to these people. Nobody is held accountable for anything. Whether you want to call it the deep state, the fourth estate, or the powers that be. Call it bad people in corporations and government acting in confluence. The reality is all the same. Justice just isn't there for those who deserve it. Corruption flourishes, and the light shines, not on the problems, but on those trying to expose the problems. Make no mistake, Charlie Kirk is dead because the people who ought to be in prison are currently roaming free. This is the principle we must understand. Without accountability, we live under the illusion of freedom. Unless this changes soon and people are held to account, more people you love are going to die. And it will be worse than what we saw this week. So the question we must ask ourselves is this: how many more people have to die because we're not doing our part, exposing wrongdoing, allowing or standing by, watching those conspire to undermine this country? But in order for us to change directions, Charlie Kirk's assassination must light a fire under people who are afraid to act, as my friend Laura Logan poetically put it just last night. All the things that Charlie Kirk stood for need to come to fruition, or we're just posturing, lying about the legacy he left us, which we claim to admire. I often get asked by people in politics, O'Keefe, what outcome do you want? What are you trying to accomplish? I find that to be a bizarre question asked by those who claim to have a duty to public service. Lost in our politics is any semblance of right and wrong. Ideally, the motive here should not be the pursuit of power, but to better society, to shame the devil, to fight knavery, to knock the bleeding crap out of the people destroying this country. What matters is your relationship with the truth. Charlie said that. He said, quote, "What matters is your relationship with the truth." And the legacy of Charlie Kirk is therefore this: good people must fight for the right things for the right reasons. To do this, we must dig and fight for what we love. And to do that, we must fight a battle within ourselves. A friend of mine, Roseanne Barr, once said to me very poignantly, the battle is within us. We must choose to love others as we love ourselves. Greater love hath no more than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends. That's what Christ did for us, and that's what Charlie did for us this week. Charlie enters the gates of heaven with shouts of, "Well done, Charlie." Charlie taught me to expose evil and to hold it to account for no other purpose than because the truth is essential and it's the right thing to do. That's it. Of course, this is the dream of the ridiculous man, and Dostoevsky writes in that book, and yet this is merely an old truth, repeated and read 1 billion times, but it has never taken root. Well, I believe Charlie Kirk's death is the seed that will finally allow this concept to take root. There will be people who want to stand up and want to stand down. Jesse Waters pleaded on Fox News last night that you can either take that message and crawl into a corner and shut up, or you can do what Charlie wanted you to do and is asking you now to do and speak louder. The future of this nation will be determined by the choice you make. Yes, there's going to be those who deny the reality of the evil itself, but that doesn't really matter. What is a fact is that Charlie Kirk now belongs in the hearts of Americans fighting against those who are undermining this country. The future of this nation and our own survival will depend upon the choices that you make. God was using Charlie to wake up this generation, and despite the assassin's bullet to his throat, God is going to continue to use his voice. 1 million more Charlie Kirks are going to be born. So we look forward to working together with all of you here at O'Keefe Media Group to fight the evil that exists in the world and to expose it for precisely what it is, and to send a message that the politics of fear will not prevail in the United States of America. This man is a good man. I didn't know you incredibly well, but when this happened to me, which is the darkest moment of my life, Charlie would call me every day. He didn't have to do that. And text me, how are you doing, and send me prayers. I got to know you better, and I'm very grateful for your friendship and support during that time.
Well,
thank you.
We continue to have your back, James, and because you're an American treasure, truly.
You can never really know someone until you go through hell. And you can kind of see the line that separates good and evil runs through every human heart.
And Lord, he understands that this is a spiritual battle because he's seen evil face to face.
This is a truth teller. He has exposed every major demonic power center in the country.
The bad guys didn't win. The censors, the smear artists. Please, James.
The enemy is, I've said this to you, the enemy, sometimes it can be within, it's often within us. The evil is all around us, especially when you are a targeted man. You have to surround yourself with people whose price is very great, and maybe his price is your life.